Good morning. Headed down to Wells Beach this morning. Take a look at the coast, get some video, and get an idea of what erosion's looking like. Share it with you guys. So if you're looking to buy or sell real estate along the coast in Wells, Maine, you're not going to want to miss this video. Okay guys, here we are headed down the Mile Road, headed to Wells Beach. I ended up coming back to the beach twice in order to get more footage to make it really good. I hope you appreciate this video. Here we are guys at the end of the Mile Road in Wells Beach. Now this is a great beach. Again, limited parking, so you got to get here early and head down these stairs. And this is really a great time to be here in the wintertime to give you an idea of what happens. So a lot of that sand has washed out. It washes out every season, comes back every summer. You know, some areas as much as 7 feet. I know it's hard to believe, but I lived on the beach and I can tell you, I measured it. It's really amazing. When you first buy real estate, especially on oceanfront like I did, it can send you into a panic a little bit because you're kind of unnerving to lose that much sand. But it all comes back every year. All right, now what I'm doing now is I'm heading over to Crescent Beach. All right, what I wanted to point out here is that the waves will actually bring rocks over the seawall. This is actually not even that bad, but and these rocks, you know, they're not small. You know, if I come down here and I'll grab some for you. So if you just get an idea of how big some of these rocks are. Oop, I zoomed in too much. So these are decent sized rocks. And you know, they'll come over the wall, get washed down with the waves. And yeah, so you know, it takes quite a bit of water to move rocks like this, especially that kind of volume. Pretty typical, you know. It doesn't even really have to be a bad storm. You can see people have invested major money into these houses. And so dealing with the storms and, you know, you just budget for it. It's just part of living down here in Wells Beach. The storms are getting rougher, doing more damage. Okay, this is an area along Crescent Beach that I know very well because I used to live down here on the beach. And we're at Days Lane right here. So I'll point that out on the map. And what I want you to know is that this area will flood a few times a year. It won't even be a storm. It's just high tides now. So this entire road will be underwater. And the water will flood around. This is the sewage system pump house for the town. This is where all the sewage for the treatment plant comes down to this. This is the lowest point. And so the basement in this thing, I've been down and it goes down about 30 feet, believe it or not. They froze the ground to put in the foundation and pour the concrete in order to put in that building. So really fascinating. I wish I could do a video on that. But what I want to put out here is that the water will flood a few times a year. It'll go right across the road and right up that lawn right there. I was down here on the beach for almost 10 years raising my kids. I wanted to go to the local school systems. It was really good. And so it would flood all the way around this pump house. And there's a 3-foot wall when you open that door in order to just keep the 30 feet down from filling up with water and becoming a fish tank. So be aware that certain areas of the beach in here in Wells will flood on a regular basis. It won't even require a storm. In fact, this parking right here, the camera's not going to do it justice, but it's elevated. This skirt of asphalt is so that when it floods, the cars won't be underwater, because obviously if it floods, you'll especially down on Days Lane, a lot of those people claimed it on the insurance. So, but you know, if you drive by this fence, and you might see seaweed halfway up that 4-foot fence, and it isn't because the wind blew the seaweed there, it's because it floods that high. Ooh, deep, deep, deep. So I wanted to point that out, that the rising tides is impacting beaches in Maine, some more than others. And what you want to know, what you want to be aware of, is that it's not affecting real estate values at all. All right, guys, here we are. I'm headed down to Crescent Beach, and you can see we've got this walkway. And they have to do repairs every few years to this walkway because the storms are pretty hard on it. Okay, so you probably find this kind of interesting. Look how high that is. So you're talking all of 15 feet anyway. So when the 7 or so feet of sand come in, it'll actually go right up to these stairs. So that's 6 foot anyway to the first step. And all of these rocks will be covered with sand. These big buttresses right here that are at 5 feet up, the top of them, all covered with sand. You won't even know if you come down here in the summertime and in mid to late July, when all the sand has come in, you won't even be able to see all this. Look at the layers of concrete they put down here. So you really want to, if you're looking to buy real estate on Crescent Beach, you want to work with a realtor who is familiar with the area, knows what's going on, because all this riprap, see all this riprap? You can't bring in that riprap anymore because the state won't allow it. So, you know, they would love to put in more. The owners of these properties would love to put in more riprap, and they're not allowed to. So let's take a look at this property right here. And actually, there's more sand than what there usually is. So you'll lose another 3 foot of sand right through here, and it'll be rocks out to the, but there'll be some sand. And, you know, so you have to have a set of stairs that come down from there about, you know, going to drop at least 13 feet. So your stairs are all of 16 feet long. Okay. I have to wear a hat today. It's a little bit colder today in March. And I want to point out just how drastic the amount of erosion happens every single winter and how much sand comes back every single summer. So that footing behind me, right there, top of my finger there, that's a footing. The sand will actually erode 4 feet below the top of that footing. Yeah, that's a lot. So I'll actually see underneath the footing. And what you're seeing here is some sand, but this is all rocks underneath here. There's only about 2 feet of sand here on top of the rocks, because sometimes what would happen is that, you know, a storm would come in, it would just take away all the sand, you know, and then the sand would come back. But it doesn't come all back until later in the summer. So again, 4 feet just to get to that footing. And then you would get another 4 to 5 feet. Yeah, 4 to 5 feet. So that's 8 to 9 feet of sand would wash in every single summer. Can you believe that? It was nuts. And it scared the heck out of me. But it came back every year. And I called the DEP about putting some of those rocks, the riprap, in front of my seawall. And they wouldn't let me because it's a protected area. They don't want to see any more of that. And so they wouldn't let me do it to protect my seawall. So when the waves would hit this wall really hard, I'm having a hard time talking because my chin's getting cold. The waves would hit that wall so hard it would shake the house. And then what would happen is I'd see my nightstands would move and stuff, and it would wake me up in the middle of the night. And so I'd see the waves, you know, hitting, boom, going up, you know, hitting the windows in the house. Crazy, crazy.
Tell your doctor if you've ever had hepatitis B, a liver transplant, other liver or kidney problems, HIV, or any other medical conditions, and about all the medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking Erosion with heroin can cause a serious slow recovery. Common side effects of heroin include tiredness, headache, and weakness. Ready to totally dope. Ask your hep.
But you know what? People that live along here on Crescent Beach are comfortable with it. You know, they've lived here for years. The property values keep going up and up and up. Still a very good investment. And you just deal with it, you know. If your house sees damage or destruction, they just reinvest in the property. Property values keep going up. Still a great investment. Back in 2018, when I was renting my property, I was getting $13,500 a week. And I know people are having a hard time believing these things, but I'm telling you the absolute truth. It was nuts. The erosion is crazy, it scared the heck out of me. And the rent was nuts too. I was getting very good money. So now, here it is, 2023. I'm willing to bet that, you know, and I'd have it rented every single week too. It was full every single summer. So I'm sure that if I had that property today, I could probably rent it for probably closer to $17,000 a week. Isn't that nuts? But you know, these properties along the water, despite the fact that you're dealing with considerable more destruction than maybe other parts of Wells Beach, they're still a great investment. So don't let, you know, I just want you to be aware as a buyer of what you need to be familiar with if you're going to invest in Wells Beach. And that's why I'm doing these videos, so that, you know, if you're looking for a realtor who's really familiar with the area, can tell you the God's honest truth of what beaches to buy on and what you need to be prepared for if you're going to invest down here, give me a call and I'll visit the properties and we can talk about what to expect, not only from erosion perspective, but also if there is any, because not all the properties see erosion like this, but also from the perspective of what you can get for potential rents, because there are some factors that go into, you know, how you can get the most rents. You know, it comes down to like things like how many does it sleep, how much parking do you have, things like that. And also, don't always think you've got to be right oceanfront to get great rents if you're looking for a real estate investment, because if you're on the other side of the road and face the marsh, arguably the views are better. I mean, because the view out there, you might think, oh, that's so beautiful, but there's no lights out there at night, it's just dark. And so, you know, but on the marsh you get more wildlife, it's more quiet, you know. The ocean this time of the year is more like a constant roar. It's not like this, you know, tropical sound of the waves periodically crashing on shore. You know, it's not like that. But you know, most of these properties that are on the beach, they're not lived in. So in the wintertime, literally I was the only person living on the beach. I came here for the schools. My kids went to school here. And then once my kids graduated, I sold the house. But anyway, that's Crescent Beach, a great investment, but you want to go into it knowing about erosion. All right. So here's a house that got hit pretty hard by the waves. This house, traditionally, when storms are rough, gets hit pretty hard anyway. Well, really all of these homes along Crescent Beach, when in the winter time, you know, even with just like a high tide and rough seas, the water's coming way over, you know, the sea walls, and, you know, causing erosion. Even across the street, you can see a pile of dirt over there. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Yeah, so, you know, just erosion. So this gentleman here in one of the storms lost his porch, and you can see that, you know, you just budget for these things. The house is still a great investment, but, you know, you just got to know that you're gonna have to pay quite a bit in flood insurance, because all these houses along the beach are in the flood area, at least in this area of the beach. And you know, you deal with the repairs, and when it's time to sell it someday, you're still going to make really good money on it. So just be aware of it, that, you know, damage like this can happen to your home, but it shouldn't really, for a lot of buyers, turn you away from buying a property, because you just deal with it, you fix it, and you move on. In the wintertime, you cannot have stairs out. So all it takes is one tide. One tide, you're not paying attention, take your stairs out. Mother Nature's gonna take them, and they're gonna go out into the ocean. And sometimes you can retrieve them. I had my set of stairs ripped off. It cost you about 3,000 bucks. And a month later, we had a storm, and they rolled into shore, and I went out and got them. Now, what's interesting about putting in stairs, if you live along Crescent Beach, is that you've got to put them in before too much sand comes in, or you've got to dig a hole to put your stairs in. And so imagine that. You may have to dig a 3-foot hole. If you have to dig a hole deeper than that because you waited too long to put in your stairs, good luck, because even if the tide's way out, the sand just keeps collapsing on you, and it'll just be nearly impossible to get your stairs in. And in the fall, you know, you want to enjoy your stairs and walk down to the beach as much as possible, but I can tell you, you have really a window of like 1 or 2 days, because once the tide has started removing all the sand from in front of these places, and they've got their stairs out, if you don't catch it on the right tide and dig out your stairs and get them out of here, you're gonna lose them. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm headed down to the beach on Ocean Ave. Webhannet turns to Ocean Ave. We're headed down towards Moody Beach, and what I want to show you here is this is where the rocks turn to beach again, and I want to talk about some of the homes down here. So when you come to this area of the beach, you know, the public access is right here, and so private beach to the low water point is right here. This beach goes all the way to Ogunquit. And down this way, you can see it's rocks, right? So the name of the house is On the Rocks. I thought that was really cute. What's great about having a house on the rocks is that you don't have to worry so much about erosion, right? You get that natural protection that the Mother Nature's given you with the shoreline there, especially down towards Crescent Beach. And so, you know, when you invest in these properties, less concerns about erosion. Okay, so that's the deal with the public and private beaches and living on the rocks. So make sure you're talking to a realtor who's very familiar with living on the beach down here, familiar with the area, lived here year-round, that can tell you what to expect and where you need to be careful buying a home, and be frankly very honest with you that you need to budget for storms, because if you buy a home that is more susceptible, that, you know, repairs will be considerable amount of money. Still worth it, but you know, you need to prepare for that. Okay guys, I hope you found that video informative, and remember, whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, just give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom conference call. And until next time, we hope to show you around town.